You know what? Fascination lah. I should put a checklist next time so that I don't.
Laminate it, bro.
A laminated checklist of things to set up because otherwise you'll be like,
Sure miss out something.
Oh, you want to put it like what's right here?
Yeah,
Yeah. So otherwise you'll be like near the frame.
No worries.
Oh man, very cool. Cool.
Let's go.
Cool. All right. Oh, question: are you hearing any buzzing on your side?
Nope.
Okay, then I think I know. Then it's definitely an issue because this one I just changed this.
Okay.
I just bought a new one.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's something to do with the channel, the actual physical channel. Because I ruled it out. Like I was thinking that it was whether this was when I switched to mono. Then it's fine lah.
Okay.
Mono. You prefer it if it sounds like this mono?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how I hear myself in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're on something.
It's happened before.
Oh, okay, yeah. That would be interesting, man. Yeah.
Yeah. But your inputs are okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inputs are all running on that side already.
Cool. Okay.
That one I checked. That one,
no problem.
Was, and as long as I see the screen running there, I sort of know that the computer hasn't crashed.
Yeah. All right.
Oh man, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So how do we start? Well, because we're kind of like midway.
Yeah.
We really had coffee
Yeah.
and had lunch earlier before that.
We can
so
start
it's like
with
where to pick off and all that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ash.
Wow. Introduce yourself.
I'm bachelor number 1.
Oh. Wow. There used to be the Clio magazine.
Yeah.
The most eligible bachelor.
Yeah. They call me for that once.
Last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said no.
Oh, come on, man.
No lah, bro.
More than,
Back then,
you should have been representing, the musician. Whenever I saw one that was like a musician or creative, I was like, yes, I'll be always rooting for that guy.
We've got representation.
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, it will always be like, the accountant lah or executive lah or some kind of like someone who's got like that decent job.
Yeah.
The image of that desirable guy, the bachelor, right? Always have the stable job. But if musician come out,
He's like struggling musician. True.
This is like, so that's why I rooted, always want to root for the underdogs.
I remember there was Ash Nair, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Ash,
Nair.
Yeah. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Ash.
Yeah, he's a good friend, old friend as well.
That's right.
There was Ash. There was also, if you remember, Siva from Frequency Canon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Rudy's Brothers Band lah.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, there was, Kwachi, Dino,
Dino,
Yuri.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Wong.
all these guys,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So they were, they were like back at the same time, as we were. We were all playing music at the same time. Estranged, Pop Shavit, Frequency Canon.
Yeah.
So
Man.
those were the days.
Back when we had hundreds of venues to perform at.
Do I detect a hint of sarcasm?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's something I think every engineer or producer learns how to.
Of course.
Because sometimes you want to,
Because you have to talk to clients in a certain way.
Yeah.
At the same time, you must hunt them a bit.
Yeah, or you work with like artists or bands, and you want to throw a little shade, but then you can't be too direct. So it's like
I call it tactful insults.
Tactful insults.
Tactful insults.
Okay, yeah. That's
If they do a double take, but then they're like, then it did it well.
It's like, did he just was that a, no, it couldn't be, right?
Can't be lah.
Yeah.
He's so nice.
Yeah, he's so nice. That's another thing I hear as well from people say that, oh wow, all you audio engineers are all like alike, all the same. Yeah, exactly. We come. My joke is that we're all manufactured from the same factory.
Supply line.
Yeah, we go through that kind of the process. So the way you learn how to. But these are things like choice words to say.
Correct.
During sessions.
It's all trained one.
Yeah, it's all the trade
It's all the
secrets.
trained secrets.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah. Okay
So, we'll start. Why are you looking at the notes there, man?
Bro, because
It's the same thing.
because I
it's
cannot remember what I wanted to say.
You have to prepare for homework.
Correct.
But you seem to be the one that's most prepared for this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sometimes people I don't even tell them. It's like,
okay.
because it's like,
Yeah, you want the on the spot response.
Yeah.
No lah, bro. I scared I say something wrong, then the whole AES community comes for me.
Lama. You can edit, ma.
Correct.
Don't worry.
Can censor, right?
Can edit, can censor.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So a good place to start would be, one of the main things that I do on this podcast is I want to talk to people like you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who I would consider like a colleague in the industry.
Yeah, definitely.
An engineer, a musician, a producer, and all that.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear your stories.
Yeah.
Right. And very importantly, document. Let's say maybe the career path, because it's a very important things.
Definitely. For
we can
people to
talk-
know and
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
And I think importantly for the next generation of people who are coming up in this, so that they know, what sort of career paths
and what to expect.
What to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, we've been through it,
Been through it. We know the reality of it.
The realities. But the thing is that it's changed so much from where we were.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Man, I think it's easier now.
Easier
Slightly.
now? How do you mean by easier now?
I mean, it's easier for people to come up because, knowledge is so much more easier,
Yes.
to gain through YouTube, through the internet and all.
Yep.
But I'm sure you remember back in the day, we had to go to actual libraries to learn, and to study,
Yeah. You actually had to photostat
the notes,
books and notes, or if you're lucky, you would have like the CD-ROM or something like that.
Bro, I'm sure you remember recording engineer's guide, the guidebook.
Yeah.
That
was
thick one.
That's one of the textbook,
Correct.
Yeah.
Now
it's like, hey, where the textbooks are? Everything is like, everything needs to be a 60-second
YouTube video,
TikTok video.
Yeah.
Anyway, before let's digress. I like to always start from your beginning.
Okay.
Where was music always something that was part of your life, and then in terms of your education and growing up and all that.
So I grew up in Penang. One thing, I think I'm very lucky because my dad is an electronic and acoustic engineer, and he designs speakers also, and all the way from speaker cabinets to the actual speakers. You know what I mean? And so growing up, I was surrounded by, blueprints, this like that, raw material, wood. My dad would be like chopping wood and stuff, sawing and putting them together. And he designed these, I call them binaural speakers, but basically the throw was both ways, front and back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were flat panel, pancake style. Yeah, but they were big. They were about the size of this wood panel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And listening to, I think the first time I was probably 8 or 9 years old, but my dad played the LP of Chariots of Fire, and on those speakers when they were done. And I never heard crystalline audio before, crystalline audio, so crisp and just, it felt like you can feel the wave passing through you like that,
Wow.
So I think from then, subconsciously, that was when I first loved audio. And then, of course, through listening to my dad's music, and my dad, a very wide collection of genres, I grew up listening to Count Basie, a lot of jazz, a lot of world music, samba, reggae, dub, that kind of stuff. And then there was a bit of old school rock and roll, and then Led Zepp, Queen, all that kind of stuff. My mom listens to a lot of different stuff. And at the same time, like what I got from my dad was the Western world. What I got from my mom was more of the Eastern world, our Indian heritage, that kind of music. And very, very weird balance, because when you think about it, Indian music is so different from other kinds of music, right? Like
Exactly.
it's a whole world of its own,
Yeah.
right? And as a small child, to comprehend those things together, you're like, you keep thinking, this is so different, this is so different. How come those two don't match? Which would later be the basis for me starting Nadir, my band. But
yeah, we'll get to that.
we'll get to that. But so I grew up in Penang. Then when I was 11, I started playing drums. I took lessons for a few months only at Yamaha Music School, and I didn't like it because I think after, it's always like one lesson a week, right? So imagine 5 lessons over 5 weeks playing the same groove. And after the second week, I got the groove already. So the impatience was there lah. And I was like, I didn't want to do it anymore. But I had the basics already. Then I went into Penang Free School and I joined the school band. And funny enough, I was put in the saxophone section first. And after 2 weeks, they moved me to drums. So destined to be a drummer.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, then from there, the passion for music took off even more because I was playing in the school band. We had the marching band, we had the concert band, and we also had the jazz band.
Awesome,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it was a very nice, diverse mix of stuff. Like on one hand, I'll be playing quad bass for a suite from Fantasia, right? And you learn about multi-timbral bass drums. And in your head, you're like, bass drum got different timbre, And I was like, that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
So I grew up on that. And then that's also around when I started getting into a lot of local music. Mainly due to us playing covers of those things. Alley Cats, Sheila Majid, that kind of stuff. And then when I was 15, I started a cover band with my friends, and we played a lot of the modern rock classics, Matchbox 20, Creed. It was very much a Creed cover band,
Oh, right, yeah.
So
now Creed and all those bands are now online and easy.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know Creed reunited?
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw the
video.
the article, but is it with the
Original,
all of them?
all original. Scott Stapp is back. Yeah,
My sack of rice.
My sack of rice. Oh, that's a good song.
Oh man, I mean, both of us are like from around that same.
Yeah.
We're both around the same age.
Correct.
Like, I'm 1979 year.
Oh, I'm 1986, bro.
86. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we look the same
around
age.
around the same
generation
era,
lah.
okay.
Generation, yeah.
Yeah, that around that same 80s, born
yeah.
around that time lah.
Yeah.
So yeah, listening to around that
Definitely.
same time music.
Definitely.
Yeah. Still love the 90s and the
Definitely,
2000
bro.
songs.
You
man.
can't escape it lah.
Yeah,
I have
it's
my 90s playlist. In fact,
lagu sekarang ni semua tak sedap.
yeah, we will complain lah. We will complain, and then we'll go back and listen to our old stuff, and then we're like, the good old days. But yeah, so I started playing I started the cover band. We started playing that, and then I started getting into modern music at that time. The guilty pleasures, of course, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, all that kind of stuff. In the back of my head, I loved all of them, but outside you cover macho, right? Because you all boys school some more, right? So cover macho lah, but at but in the back in my head, I knew I loved all this music, and I got into country music also. I was loving everything that I was getting.
Yeah.
And then when I was 16, turning 17, I joined my first underground metal band. Yeah, and
What was it called?
it was called Mecca.
Wow.
Yeah, and we used to play gigs in Actor Studio Green Hall in Penang. And I think I was the only underage person there because my band members already finished high school.
Okay.
And that's where I saw Seven Collar T-shirt for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, they played
Right.
one of those underground metal gigs.
Yeah.
Coffin Cancer, Ocean of Fire. Back then
Right.
they were called Hearts on Fire.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Kelvin Young. Man.
Shout out Kelvin Young. I just played a gig with him last weekend. Yeah.
And this is Seven Collar when Mokhtar was still playing drums, right?
Yes, when Mokhtar.
You know.
Yeah, when Mokhtar was the hottie.
The OG drummer.
The OG.
Yeah, the OG drummer.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when I saw all these bands, and then finding out that they're from KL. I was like, okay, cool. Then when I was 16, so during this underground metal gigs era is when I used to go and hang out with the soundmen. Yeah, and I used to just watch what they do, and then one of them, I can't remember his name, Abang something lah, you know. Abang.
Shout out Abang.
Shout out Abang. He let me take the con for one of the bands that was playing. But he just basic level control only, you know. Live sound, right? Just basic level control. He's like, kau rasa apa-apa, you know, kuat sangat, bagi turun. Then, but he just said, jangan buat apa-apa benda bodoh, Penang, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay lah. So I just made very minute changes.
Okay.
But just that act of touching faders also is already like, wow, shock, man. You know, as a kid somewhere, right? Yeah. Then, so from...
pergi wokok dulu.
Yeah. Confirm lah, they want to go. But then, 17, it was a choice of either doing like medicine or, you know, the standard things. But I knew for sure I definitely didn't want to do all that.
Wow.
But never crossed my mind that doing anything related to music could be a career choice, because you grow up thinking music is just a hobby, right? Even though you see all these bands, it doesn't click in your head that for you that could be an option. Then I found out about SAE. And at the time, SAE just shifted to Byron Bay as their headquarters, and they were doing a very good like introductory deal for foreign students, and I managed to get that deal to go to SAE to do my diploma and degree, and I'm very, very lucky, very lucky, because it was just the consequence of the timing that was right.
Yep.
So I went there after I finished SPM. That's when really opened my mind lah, you know. And keep in mind, this is back when the only audio interface in the world was the first M-Box, the tower.
The old days of those M-Box.
That portable audio interface kind of thing. Pro Tools LE lah, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Pro Tools did have the DigiDesign, the 001.
Yeah. So the 001, 002, then
002.
Yeah.
Those days.
Those days, man. But so then from SAE, that's where I started learning audio engineering. And
and that's what year was that?
2004.
2004 lah. Yeah.
2004.
So by that time already, it was very much digital, but did it still?
No, it was. It of course it was already fully sort of digital, but the tape era was still there. Like there were studios in SAE that were using tape also, and I think for me, I was very lucky, and I say very lucky because a lot of people work their way up towards getting to big studios and stuff, but I got to start in that place. I think for about 2 years, my main desk that I was mixing on was an SSL 4000G, you know, a full 64 channel SSL. And then we had the 9000K. I had TLA consoles, you know. So I had a massive pick of the bunch, you know. So I learned how to mix on consoles. On analog, yeah. And one of the Neotech consoles that we had, at the back, you can see Led Zeppelin's signatures. Because that's where the Stairway to Heaven was recorded in 3 parts, 3 or 4 parts. And that console recorded one of the parts.
Awesome, right.
So it's like, you see this history that's there. And so
it's a tangible part. You actually see it's their signature of all. It was the members of the band, right? All
the members of the band.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was SAE for me lah.
Yeah. So that's 2 years, about 2 years, right?
2.5, yeah.
2.5, yeah.
I stayed on after I finished,
Yeah.
just to fuck around.
Yeah. How long more did you like stay in Australia?
I was there for another year lah, essentially after I finished.
Yeah.
I deferred one subject, my work placement. Then I came back to Malaysia.
Yeah.
And I worked for Freddy Fernandez at Beta Rex last time.
Oh, okay, Beta Rex, man. Yeah.
So I did my work placement at Beta Rex. Going from this world of, recording 10-piece bands with like 40 microphones in a perfect room, in a perfect place, Byron Bay, beach town and everything. Going into this world of like Power Road. Recording ads and doing jingles and stuff like that. It was crazy, the shift for me, because you sort of get into this single track mind of thinking like, I'm in music and I'm going to record and mix music only, that's it. I don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
Then when I came back to Malaysia, I was like 19, 20? Yeah, 20. And then another eye-opening experience working at Beta Rex and seeing this different world, like, you don't compose music with a 40-piece orchestra. You do it with MIDI, on stuff, but like how they're doing it there.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, But the funny thing is also that I got my first audio post start in Australia on a decontrol icon, so it's very weird. I still think about it to this day, how lucky I am that I started up there and then came back to Malaysia and then dropped all the way down and then build back up. You know what I mean? So it's like, you talk about being humbled, right? It's a very good experience in hindsight.
Yeah, I think it is very valuable as well.
Yeah, very valuable.
Yeah. What the decision to come back to Malaysia was like, was it because more of, is it anything to do with visa thing
I
as
mean,
well?
definitely it was. One was a visa issue. There was some stuff that happened in Australia. Like I had an offer to work there and all that, but the guy that offered me the job, I think he got busted by the cops for something.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of lucky that I didn't do it lah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was also like, do I go back there and risk coming into a world that's fresh? Because I was no longer I didn't have the comfort and support of the university because I was done, right?
Yeah.
So it was a risk lah to do it. It's a risk I would have taken had I been a bit older, but I was only 20 at the time.
I mean, if you're thinking about at 19, 20, we were basically still kids,
bro.
man.
Yeah, still kids.
It's like,
Yeah.
it must have been a daunting, experience.
Quite.
But that must have been an awesome experience.
Yeah,
it's such a
it was
valuable education.
It built up who I am today.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Your values, your work ethic, especially. And the work ethic part is the most important thing, because a lot of people, you may be a great engineer, you have great ears and all that. At the end of the day, in the real world, if you've got no work ethic, nobody's going to work with you.
Yeah, that's where all the tactful needs to be there as well. Yeah, but not just that. I'm sure even things like discipline, time management. Knowing how to prioritize jobs and all that. Yeah.
And managing yourself,
Yeah, those are some things that sometimes I think you don't really learn in university. You got to there's no subject that actually
School
teaches
of
you
hard knocks. Yeah. School of hard knocks all the way.
You got to learn all that along the way. Otherwise, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna fall by the way, by the wayside. That's very important, lah.
It is.
Yeah. And especially you and I, both of us are, we both run our own studios. I always joke that I'm the boss, the engineer, but I'm also the janitor,
the
keyboard,
the admin, everything,
the accountant,
cockroach killer.
Oh,
yeah.
Bro, I'll tell you, I mean, different stories. I got weird animal stories. I had weird animal stories. I'll tell you later, afterwards, Yeah, even like over the other side, Felix and over there, they also had their weird animal encounter stories.
Musang King all the way, bro.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yeah. So that means that's back to Malaysia. This would be around 2007,
2006, 2007, yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Then I got a job at Astro.
Yep.
So I worked at Astro Radio for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was, of course, another culture shock because you step into this political landscape, ultimate political corporate landscape.
World.
Yeah. And it's a game of just learning how to keep up, and learning how to work super fast.
Yeah.
People always say you can't work fast and work good and do good work. But over there, you have to do both. You know what I mean? You got no excuse. You got nothing. You have to do it. So you just tune your brain in and so I got really fast at Pro Tools because I started on Pro Tools. Got really fast on Pro Tools, blah, 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 shortcut king all the way, editing very fast. You edit like a 3-4 minute recording of a voiceover down to 30 seconds in about 1 minute. You literally, it's pinpoint decision after another and just cut, and at the end of it, you've auto-faded everything already, and then you've got this thing that's going on air in 5 minutes and you have to upload it. Very fast-paced, high pressure, constant high pressure, especially in the mornings when you're working on morning crew rewinds and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so that sort of taught me how to work fast under pressure and how to deal with that. Rather than drinking 10 cups of coffee and, going out and having 10 smokes,
it's a different thing, totally different.
Totally different. You just learn how to be more efficient with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And learning to trust your gut more when you're editing or doing anything. Like sometimes you tend, as engineers, we have the luxury when mixing stuff to listen to things over and over again. Right, instead of making a decision, and there is a place for that, and there is also not a place for that.
It's a time and place for everything. Yeah.
So after Astro, I did music full time for a while. I got that out of the way. I was playing the pub circuit and together with Zaim lah.
Right. Is that where you guys first connected? Was through that?
Actually, we met, me and my friend Ray, we had a band, and it was just like a 2-piece acoustic thing that we were going around playing. I was on percussion.
Which Ray? Ray Chong?
Ray Chong, yeah.
Oh, shout out to Ray, man.
Shout out to Ray.
Yeah.
And he was on guitar and singing. And then, but we wanted the name to be like this. Back then, John Mayer was all the rage. And he had the John Mayer trio, right? So we wanted the Ray Chong trio. But we needed a bassist to be a trio, So we posted on Gem Tank back then. Posted on Gem Tank, and Zaim answered the call. And shout out to Zaim, he answered the call. His picture, the typical abang sado, muscles, tak pakai baju, holding the bass like it's his girlfriend like that, You know that, Zaim?
Does he still have that Facebook profile picture?
I think so. We have to find it, yeah.
I've seen that picture before, no? Yeah. He's like, do you use that for your Tinder profile?
Zaim. But he answered the call.
Yeah.
And
he's an amazing guy, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Really cool.
Honestly, bro, at that time, Ray and I, we weren't taking music seriously. We were just fucking around, We were just playing. And then Zaim came in. And at that point, Zaim had been already playing for like Jamal Abdillah, Ning by Zura, Faizal Tahir. And so he is like proper sessionist, you know what I mean? Like takes music seriously and everything. Then he comes and meets these two jokers who are, constantly talking cock, talking shit, not taking jamming seriously, I don't know why he stayed on lah. But he says that he saw something in us. So it's good that he did, because then after a while, we started taking it more seriously, started performing a lot, taking the craft of music more seriously. Yeah, then that's how Zaim and I had our working relationship, became very close friends that way. But yeah, then after at that point, then I needed to find a job again lah. So I was working in Ayuno.
Yes.
It's a Korean company dubbing.
Yep, correct, yeah.
So Ayuno, normal lah, just, doing dubbing and stuff.
Yep, correct,
And
yeah.
after Ayuno, where was I? Yeah, I did a lot of freelance work with Walid from WASP.
Okay,
I did
right.
some stuff with Walid. Then freelancing here and there. Then after that, I went and started my first company, Soliano Sound Solutions.
Yep.
With a couple of people.
Yeah, used to be down the street.
road.
Yeah, I know.
Taman Tan.
Yeah.
That one was more like a rehearsal studio,
Yeah,
a bit of recording, nothing fancy. We did a bit of that. Managed to get a lot of notable people to rehearse there, and that became their port.
Yeah.
The guys from the jazz scene, Gary Gideon,
Right.
Josie Thomas, all used to come and rehearse there. And then there was like One Buck Shot. Kyoto used to come and rehearse there all the time. Yeah, so that was pretty good. That was pretty nice. Then I left. After I left, that's when I again went back into music, doing music, and all this while had always been starting different bands. You build it up, that kind of thing. So did that. Then managed to get. I can't remember the timeline. I might be forgetting some stuff, but at that point, I worked at Fuse.
Right.
Yeah, I worked at Fuse, and I was doing a lot of ads at Fuse.
Yeah, that's mainly what they do lah.
Yeah. So did that. Then from Fuse, I went to Imaginex. And at Imaginex is where I fully went into doing film.
Right. Yeah.
Doing sound design for film and ads. At the same time, ads also. At Imaginex, shout out to Imaginex, the best place I've worked. That's when I made a decision to. At that point, I had gotten a bit jaded with the industry, the music industry. Because throughout this entire time, I was always playing music on the side or full time, right? And started so many different bands. It'll fail. Then try okay, you know what? Always trying to pander to the market and pander to what the market demands. Pop is happening now. Let's do a pop band, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So got sick of that. Then I started Nadir with Zaim and Steph and all the other guys there. Started Nadir, and the whole point of Nadir initially was just a concept. Just start a band that has no limitations. We do whatever the hell we want to do. And I also wanted control over our own music. So that's why I started Nadir Studios, so that we have our own record label.
Yep.
Yeah. So started Nadir Studios. And I think from then I started doing jobs on my own at home studio. And I did this job for my good friend Mien. She had a short film called Salam 2.0, and it's a post-apocalyptic sort of movie, kind of Mad Max, a bit of a Mad Max vibe kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. But this entire time you always struggle with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're good enough, then I think the turning point for me was when we won the BMW Shorties for Best Sound for Salam. That's when I knew I can do this lah.
There's the validation.
Yeah,
is there,
the validation, industry validation. I mean, in terms of a career path, that's when Nadir Studios started.
Yeah. That was where it seemed to click together. That path forward. Just seemed to appear before you lah. It's very cool. That would be in. Come, let me get you a refill, man. All right. Okay. H2O. This is water, by the way. It's not nothing else.
We're just sipping vodka over here.
Too early in the day. Oh,
Yeah.
or some people say it's never too early.
No, it's too early, bro.
Yeah, it's way too early.
Way too early for audio
Yeah.
engineers.
Plus there's work to go to
Correct.
afterwards. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That what year was that then? When the band and the studio, the company started?
2015.
2015, man.
2015.
Right.
2014, 2015. Yeah. 2015, but with the band, we took a whole year of just being in the studio rehearsing and writing. We didn't play any shows for 1 year.
Yep.
I wanted us to just get that chemistry together first, because we're putting together 7 or 8 people who some know each other, some don't, right? And it was a crazy idea at the time, but it's very good that we did that, because we had that time with no pressure of we've got a gig coming up, you know. So it was just one whole year of every Wednesday going into the studio and just playing, writing new songs, writing ideas, and it's a lot of free form movement of music. We'll write a verse and chorus, and then from there we'll keep jamming and improv and building it up, and we'll record like these 40-minute takes, and then I go back, listen, and cut out parts that are cool, you know, and you sort of jigsaw puzzle it, and then we came up with these songs, and also came up with our own style at that point.
Yeah. I love doing that, man. You know, and in the early days, you know, me and my band also would do that, and just record, and then. But you know, now it's luxury of time is not something that you have
now different already.
Yeah. So you started out the studio started out at basically in your home, right?
Yes,
at home.
The studio started out at home.
Yeah, and then when did you like branch out? You know, to
so I actually this was like maybe a few years before COVID. Yeah, around 2016. One more career thing after I left Imaginex. And I decided to focus on Nadir Studios. Of course, the idealistic side of me was like, I'm going to do it full time, you know. But then you realize there are not enough jobs for you to do it full time, especially if it's a new company.
Yeah.
So I taught music tech at 10B International School for a while.
Nice.
So about 3 years I was teaching music tech.
Yeah.
So from 2015 till about 2018, I was teaching part-time there. And at the same time, I was slowly building up the company.
Yeah.
Slowly building it up, buying equipment, you know, every time I can get a bit, buy here, buy there. And building up the home studio. So converted my middle room into the control room, and the rest of the house was my live room. Different rooms, you know, kitchen, got this reverb here. You tell yourself all these things lah, right? You know, padahal your kitchen probably sounds horrible, you know, and you hear the roti man pass by, beep, 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 beep. But can denoise lah, remove only, you know. But I had very high ceilings. One of those old school Tamantun houses.
Right.
Yeah. So recording drums was very nice in the hall. Yeah, because it's a diagonal high ceiling.
Correct.
And so that's where I produced our first album. Synesthesia, Nadir's first album, and then produced for a couple of other people also. And it's funny, I worked with some greats like Dane Syed. You know, I worked on his film in that house. So someone of Dane Syed's caliber coming to my house and, you know, making himself at home in my kitchen, making coffee, and it's very weird, like very like. But the reason why I decided to move the studio to somewhere else, I still stay in that house. But was because, you know, after a while you sort of lose that comfort of having people come over to your house. I have a funny story. Dato' Tok Ram.
Right.
There was this job that Farid and I were working on, and Tok Ram was the exec producer on it. And we're recording this guy for the theme song for a movie, a Malay movie, and the actor was the one singing the theme song. We didn't know Tok Ram was going to show up. Tok Ram showed up at my house with the entourage of the entire movie people. So there was about 25 or 30 people in my house at like 7 o'clock at night, you know. And I'm just like, whoa, this was crazy, and
It's getting out of hand here.
then that imposter syndrome starts to apply to your home, your studio. You're like, but this is my house. This is not good enough. They're not going to take you seriously when you're doing stuff in your house.
Yeah, there's that. There's always that.
There's always that. But actually, there was no problem with the work because I treated my room and everything, So, but I still wanted a place, of course. You as an engineer, as a human being, you want to work in a place that you feel is it's right, right? And I didn't want to have random people coming to my house, and I wanted to separate myself from my work.
Yeah.
Because every time I was working at home, sometimes clients will call you at 3 a.m. asking for stuff, and they know your room is right next to your bedroom, so you can't say no, ma.
Right. Yeah. The boundary between your private home life and your work life.
It was very dim.
Yeah.
So
it's literally non-existent, the boundary was there. Yeah. I feel you, man. Yeah, I feel you exactly, man. Exactly. I felt exactly the same reason why I had to move out from starting out as a home studio in my apartment.
Yeah,
because you just had to.
You can't separate it, man.
Yeah, you just have to eventually learn how to separate. Work is work, home is home. You don't take your work back home.
Yeah.
You got to leave all the stress and all that.
All behind.
All behind. Yeah, just to carry it around with you, it's a lot of baggage to be carrying around. Yeah,
definitely a lot.
But I feel you during the younger days when we were like in your early 20s and all that, before that, but like,
still got energy lah.
Yeah,
still got energy to do all that.
Now a little bit older it is. Okay, I don't even take calls after 12 midnight or even reply message after 12.
If you can call me at 12, you can wait until the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
But yeah.
And I always joke like in music production or audio engineering, it's not a life and death situation. So
True.
you can wait, okay?
True.
Yeah. It's not life and death. No one gets hurt, if anything, Yeah. So yeah. So of course now I've been to your place already, So the current place now in Damansara Perdana. Yeah.
So managed to find a nice place, formerly Cactus.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So I took over, made it my own, and
it's really cool, man. I really love the vibe over here.
Yeah.
My place in comparison, if you look over the side, it looks so old. It's because it is old. It's basically unchanged since 2005.
But it's got its vibes. It's got its vibes, definitely.
So I mean, the comfort zone is there, lah.
Like you said earlier, like you want to feel at home where you work.
Yeah.
But
still home away
from home.
Yeah.
As long as the word away is there, when it's away from home, you step into work, then you're like, so you start working also, you feel good, So that's the whole point of it.
Yeah. And you've been there, this your current location now for
2 years now.
2 years, right?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is what you moved during COVID.
Just after COVID.
Just after, where
it was a massive risk, bro.
I know, because it was like, that was a very, very bold decision and to do it that way.
The way I like my thought process at the time was there's some things in life when the offer comes to you and you feel like it's too good to be true. People always say, it's too good to be true, don't bother. This offer was too good to be true in a very, very good way. Like I realized every part of you, your instinct is telling you, you have to take it. You have to take it. It's the right thing, And plus the owner of the lot is my friend. She also went to SAE College in Bombay, my junior and all that. And all these things were aligning. And I felt that, when I have that separation, I have a new point of focus. And that motivation came.
Right, yeah.
So got the place. And the first point of motivation was making it look the way I want it to look. Then making it sound the way I want it to sound. And then eventually, that becomes a cycle that just keeps rolling lah.
Yeah.
And it's a good cycle, but
it's always a work in progress.
it's always a work in progress. Then, after you've got it to look the way you want, suddenly you start thinking, maybe I need new speakers.
But there's always that excitement, and I'm sure, when you move to where you're currently now, that moment you must have felt, you were raring to go. It felt
Definitely.
it's like the
You can take on the
like
world.
It's like a second win on your sail.
Exactly. It's a second win.
It felt like that.
Definitely a second win, because then I felt confident in actually bringing clients, bringing people and getting people to come over, So I used to, like, every day, it was like a open house like that. At night, I'll do viewings. So people, I'd be like, hey, just come hang, then they'll come in or come and hang. And then in that way, I built up a sort of a new clientele.
Yeah.
So I started calling all my old advertising friends and things like that. So I did that, and then eventually, to me, because I studied a bit of psychology also, and people, when they step into a place that feels comfortable, there's a level of trust that is built. You know, so like when you step into a new place that is in some way connected to you in terms of work or in terms of anything. The moment you feel comfortable, it's there's a bit of that trust built. So I use that to really like get more connections and get more people to be happy there. So
secret tip for you guys out there who are starting out, man. Do you want to do your own studios?
Get a nice furry carpet for your front entrance.
Let me take down some notes right now. That's very, very cool, man.
But it's that funny, bro, because I bought this like really nice plush carpet just for the front entrance, so that the first thing you step on is like this soft.
It's a tactile thing.
Yeah, it's a tactile thing. So everybody who comes in, without fail, I experiment, I watch, I buzz them in, open the door, they step in, they will linger on the carpet and they let their feet like, oh, wow. Then they start doing this, they move their legs, and I just laughed to myself because I mean like...
Did I do that when I came in?
I think you did.
I did? Okay, all right. Yeah.
It's a subconscious thing. It's just you feel
exactly. No, you come to think of it. That I heard the word recently where, it's like, tactile things will trigger certain memories or even emotions or good feelings.
Definitely,
So I'm still it made you feel good. Hearing some music,
of course,
makes us feel good. It triggers some memory. Taste,
exactly.
Although I've read, I don't know whether this is correct or not. Smell triggers a very strong response.
Sense memories and sense triggers. Definitely.
So okay, right. So now it's the time to use our human psychology.
Correct.
To in business.
But that's that as engineers, that's what we do, bro.
Yeah.
We are using psychology, whether we subconsciously do it or whether we realize what we're doing.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with clients, or like sometimes you get a reading of a person when you're working with them, and like, let's say you work with a singer who is a bit sensitive to comments, so you can't like communicate with them the same way you would with somebody else.
Directly confront them with things you have to.
Like, let's say they sang a take and the pitching was all over the place. You can't tell them, can you do that again? The pitching was all over the place. Whereas with another person, you can tell them that and they'll be like, oh, okay, let's do another take. So we actively do it, lah.
So and across the years we become master manipulators. So very good.
That's true.
And hey, you just brought up that use case of just having something like that. I've been fall prey to manipulation already. That's so cool. But that's always. It's always fascinated me in the sense that besides all that we mentioned, just talking about what we do when we mix music, when we mix, we play with sounds and all that, or even for film. It's all about trying to, elicit emotional
Definitely, bro.
response from people.
Definitely. It's to me, I feel like mixing music from the top of the process chain lah, from recording, from selecting the sounds that you use to mixing to mastering. You're trying to get your audience to react to the emotional response that you want. I feel like even things like as simple as whether choosing to make something dry or wet, how much reverb you add to something will elicit a different response from people, And I use that in how I record, in how I mix, and how I master. And you, not just that lah, but all the tools that are at our disposal, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is when it comes to music, at the end of the day, I feel a mix or a final product is great when it elicits that response that I want it to elicit.
100%, man. Yeah, exactly. And that's sometimes for those who are maybe newer in the business, they can be so caught up with this EQ lah, this compression lah, this and that lah,
Sometimes, like I tell my interns also, like a good test of your capabilities as an engineer is use stock plugins and just use levels, panning, balancing, EQ compression. That's it. Don't use anything else. If you can train yourself to mix like that and use limited tools like this and get something that's really high quality from that, then then you have the rest of the tools at your disposal. It's all toys already.
Gear, tools, those are all just stuff that makes your job easier.
It makes your job easier,
or sometimes harder. Sometimes harder, but that's just that. They're tools. They're not things which will make a mix great or not. That's all down to your taste and balance and how not that. It's a great lesson, man.
Because if you don't know the basics lah, it's always about the basics. If you don't know why you are doing something, if you don't know why you are compressing, if you don't know why you're EQing, then it doesn't matter what tool you have. You can have the best EQP 1A also. You'll just be turning knobs. That's all you're doing.
The funny flip side, and someone told me this, I don't know whether it's true, when they like attend those kind of webinars that was done by some big time engineer. In the end, what the like Chris Law actually say, just do it according to feel, man. It's all feels like. Then you feel like, alamak, they felt like they spend all their money, wasted. I attend this webinar, this workshop, everything, and all he tells me is mix by feel.
Yeah,
that's the answer.
You see how CLA mixes, right? He just big whoop 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 whoop. This sounds good. No, this sounds good. Okay, pop, done. There's no like minute 0.5. Oh, this sounds good.
So that's an important lesson we need to take behind and that's something that I tell my interns that as well. How it feels is much more important than
correct.
Awesome, man. Well, I know I got a lot of list questions here, but I told you I'm not going to cover everything. Maybe just go briefly into what's your current setup like. What do you use?
Okay. So I run for DAW. I run Logic.
Yep.
I switched to Logic a while back, like maybe 7 years ago. I prefer Logic more because I do a lot of MIDI stuff too. And the infrastructure of Logic allows me to be very efficient in everything lah. Audio, recording, mixing, and then composition and surround and stuff like that. So I use Logic. Speakers, there's a few lah. There's Yamaha's, HS5s, there's Kali Audio. Kali Audio, shout out to Kali Audio. I love the IN5s.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier now you're using the IN5s, right?
I love the IN5. Running a Mac Mini. What else? couple of outboard gear. During COVID, I sold a bunch of gear also. So now slowly trying to buy stuff back lah. Yeah. But the main workhorse is of course the Mac Logic. I'm running two PreSonus interfaces right now. I'm chaining a Quantum 2626 to my 1824.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So dual PreSonus setup. Then I have a Focusrite 8920, but that is only for surround.
Oh, okay.
I don't use that for my recordings because I still prefer the X-Max preamps on the PreSonus
for recordings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because where possible, if it's not a big band or a big artist with a lot of recording tracks, I like to record at 96. So with the X-Max on the PreSonus, the 96 sounds really good.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
Then
even back then, very long time ago, the PreSonus preamps were already,
like the Fireface and all.
Yeah, one of my mentors, like Sunil, he was one. He really turned me into some of the early. He was a big user of PreSonus preamps back then. Yeah. So the Quantum is the Thunderbolt one, right?
Yeah.
Is it
Thunderbolt 3?
Yeah.
Thunderbolt.
Right. So that's the main interface.
Yeah, chained to my 1824 just for the extra
inputs lah. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah. And it's as it's publicized, it's super fast.
Yeah.
It's super fast. Practically no latency lah. I can run chains of plugins while recording. So like I like to add in a lot of emulation sometimes on certain things.
Yeah.
And never had problems with it.
Very, very cool. Yeah. It's with digital nowadays, you sort of mix as you go along, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, you can do that easily.
You can do that now. Yeah. And I find that so useful and helpful because it does help you to make decisions and to commit to different sounds.
Yeah.
And it informs the next decision of what sounds you choose actually, rather than
the
just
chain lah.
Rather than just leave everything. I don't know. That's a little bit.
I call it the daisy chain of choice.
Yeah. It makes that flow chart of the decisions, right?
Yeah.
That diagram a lot more simpler rather than becoming like you get so many options, it will
and you lose yourself in it.
There'll be option overload.
Speaking of like options overload, now with wave plugins and everything, there's like thousands of plugins you can choose. Right. But at the end of the day, I have access to like thousands of plugins. But when you look at your recent plugins list, most of the time it's the same 5, same 6.
Yeah. 100%, man. Guilty of that, man. Guilty of that. So it feels like, it's like, okay, maybe I can, instead of going this tier, the subscription, maybe let's
roll it back
back to this because it's like, do I really need the VR plugin? Do I really need this particular thing or that? It's like, do I really need 20 different bass amp emulations?
Bro, satu cukup lah.
Yeah. I find I always just go back to one or two. That's it.
That's true.
That's all interesting. That's funny, man. So it's a good place to wind and wrap this up, man. Maybe before we go, what's next for? Maybe let's start. Maybe instead of that, we'll leave that for last.
Okay.
Any piece of advice for any young and upcoming, audience?
Let's see.
Referring back to notes.
I have to refer back.
I love it when you came prepared with the notes. You did homework.
Yeah. No, because I can just talk non-stop. That's why I don't want to end up in that, because I'll go on and on and on. So I like concise it down a bit.
Nice. Absolutely.
What advice would I give to production advice or planning career?
Well, I mean, I guess, anyone who's coming up that similar kind of pathway, studying audio engineering, wanting to become a, engineer, producer, mixer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So I've written it down, but like, I think it's very important to figure out what makes you unique, right? And like, everyone has a niche and everyone has something that makes them stand out. You have to figure out what that is and hone in on it and be as good as you can be at it sincerely before you even start thinking about how much money you can bring in. And I said that because when you start out as an engineer and you're mixing, you're always trying to sound like somebody.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Because you need to take that time to try and sound like somebody before you can sound like yourself. And for me, I went through that of trying to sound like this person, trying to sound like that person.
100%, yeah.
Before I got to the point where I realized, screw it, I'm just going to mix and work how I want my stuff to sound in my head.
Yeah.
And then from there, you just start honing in more and more and more and refining it,
Yep.
Yeah. So to me, that's that. And also, the most important thing I feel is like, you have to be familiar with struggling. Learn how to cope with it and learn how to move with it. Learn how to grow from it. Because there will be times, where things are great and you will feel like on top of the world. Then when something hits the fan, how are you going to cope with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So being familiar with struggle, I think, is very important for people who are coming up.
Yeah. Be open to accept and embrace, sometimes there will be failures, sometimes there will be downtimes.
Yeah.
As much as we always portray ourselves like, oh, everything's great, or our work, everything's great.
There's always
there are times where stuff that's that things are not that great,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this before, what happened during COVID and things with our families and things like that. Yeah. So it affects you not just like financially or mentally, but like emotionally as well.
Yep.
And learning how to balance all those sides of yourself. Because like as we said earlier, audio and music, it's an emotional game. It's an emotional thing. So if your emotions are not where you want it to be, it's gonna affect your work.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's very valuable, man. I mean, it's definitely something that, we need to talk a little bit about more. And I'm actually glad that actually more and more people actually are talking about it now. The overall mental health kind of thing, work-life balance and all these issues. And these things are all
it comes with the age lah.
Comes with the age, comes with, a little bit of maturity.
True.
Yeah. But those, I mean, it's really valuable, man. Your points, great piece of advice that that we should take away lah. Yeah. So maybe let's anything that you want to plug, or what's next, what you're working on now, what's coming up next for Nadir.
Yeah, definitely. So
what's in store?
We just wrapped a local movie called Gang Kubur. So that's coming out in the cinemas early next year.
Yeah. You mentioned a lot about that before when we were having coffee as well.
That's going to be a sound design extravaganza.
Okay. Yeah. That's very cool. That is coming out when exactly?
Sometime in March. February or March lah.
Still first quarter.
Yeah, first quarter.
2024 lah.
Yeah,
that's
one
very cool.
I'm quite proud of that because I did the music and sound design. I did basically everything in that movie.
Very nice. The director was
Gavin Yap.
Yeah. Okay.
Yap.
Yeah.
Then,
awesome. Yeah. See, I'm going to watch these movies because of who mixed it. It's like, who's the cast? Who's
That's the way, bro. Support.
I so did care. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I know this friend of mine did the soundtrack. Okay, I'm going to check it.
Nice.
Not the cast.
I got a couple other movies still in pre-production. Bands, I'm producing this band, young band. They're only like 21. They're called AVA. AVA.
AVA. Okay.
Yeah, really like the single, we just finished one single, and that single is one of my favorite songs at the moment in rotation. And the problem is because it's not released yet, so every time I want to listen to it, I have to go into my email and play the WAV file. But there's this band called Fair. There's my side project Jaki Brashga. We're recording our album right now, and then Nadir's second album. So that is the big chunk lah. We're working on our second album, trying to finish up 13 or 11 or 12 tracks.
Yeah, it sounds like it's quite a lot, man. On your
quite a lot lah. Yeah.
Next,
I think in 2 weeks, I'm heading back to Penang for a 3D projection mapping showcase.
Oh, cool.
It's called OCAM. OCALM. OCAM. And it's gonna be projected. It's like it's similar to something that was done in Rex recently, but this one is more about like Zen kind of vibes. So it's projection mapping onto the ground where people can experience experiential kind of thing, and I'm doing the music and sound for that.
Nice.
And we're still working out the logistics of doing it in surround with matching with the mapping and movement of sound through the space. Yeah. So we're using this as a testing ground, the Penang one. Yeah. And then eventually next year we might do a much bigger sort of showcase.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And some of this mixed media stuff immersive stuff is, that's
very nice.
The cool thing to play around with, man. Yeah. Is that going to be that installation is going to be a
It's going to be a week-long installation.
Right.
I think it's in Gurney Plaza.
Right. So starting on
the 8th of December.
8th of December, huh? All right.
I'm still getting the details. It's a collaboration between me and a close friend. Grew up with this close friend from Penang. So next week or the week after, I'm going out to do the testing and see how
awesome.
goes.
It'll be perfect because this will come out right. I think last week of November.
Oh, nice.
So people go and check it out. Oh, calm. Yeah, in Penang. If you're in Penang, go and check it out, man. Or even if you're in KL, so
drive down,
drive up to Penang. And go and enjoy it there. Awesome, man. Yeah.
But that's about it. A couple of other things planned, but no concrete news yet lah.
Yeah. So how to get in touch with you? Social media handles?
Social media is Nadir Studios Malaysia. Yeah, that's on Instagram, Facebook, blah 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 blah. And
wherever you get your socials.
Wherever you get your socials, just type in Nadir Studios Malaysia
and you land there lah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can follow me at Abu Menang Ash. Ashwin Ash in Malay.
I'll put it down somewhere in the graphics and in the description lah.
Yeah, that's about it lah.
That's your personal one lah.
But that one filtered a bit. That one got vetting process.
Yeah.
Nadir Studios is open.
Yeah, correct. The public one. Public profile.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Thanks, JD. Thanks for having me. It's
awesome.
Fun.
Thanks for sharing the stories and all the best for everything, man. All the best for all the upcoming projects.
Thanks.
Really look forward to checking all that stuff out, man.
And you also, man. Like, I want to hear what I haven't got a chance to hear Pop Shavit's latest single. It just came out, right?
Just recently, the one we did with Emmett and Dandy, and with a little bit of a feature from Ray Toro as well of MCR as well. Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out after this.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing this, and bye, folks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot that the camera was there, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it's like casual.